What's happening, everybody? It's your man, damednydc. Two mics up. Back again, Black History Month. Real Talk Conversation Series. Man, we're going to end it off this month. And I'm going to be rocking the mic, or mics, I should say, with some really close friends. And we're going to do this a little bit differently. This series is all about real talk and talking about things that are really impactful to us today as a Black community. We're not doing history. We're not doing events. We're talking about real things that impact us as a community. And the beauty of today's real conversation is, I'm dealing with some servicemen. These gentlemen are brothers of mine that I've gotten to know, man, some 20 plus years, to some that have been a couple of years. But they're all very impactful to me in the sense that they help keep me grounded. They keep it real with me. They tell me how they feel, whether it's the show, life, anything that we're talking about. And I think that's important, that you surround yourself and your circle with people that challenge you, who you are, challenge your thoughts. Because if you're the top of the food chain in your own circle, then there's no room for growth. And you're not really being real to yourself. So today's conversation is really important to me. And I hope you all enjoy it. And, with that being said, let me go ahead and stop talking and stop teasing. And let me bring out to the mics today to join me is my brother Sam Adams. Some of you have seen him, here on the show. He's been rocking with me, doing that little sports segment, which we're going to be talking about that real soon. Super Bowl's around the corner. As we're recording today, we're going to be working on something else. I cannot forget my man. Whoa, this is my man Walter Williams. This brother right here, I've probably known the longest out the group. He is actually Sam's brother-in-law, and that's how I got to know Sam. Two great gentlemen. Whoa, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good. Straight out of Albany, Georgia.
Couldn't wait to get that one in. We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Right off the cuff. He didn't say anything else, but he had to rep Albany, Georgia right quick.
Yeah. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. So how it is, Sam. And last but not least, we like to think of him as the baby of the bunch now. So my brother Mike Anderson. Mikey, what's happening, bro?
Yeah, chilling. What's going on, yo?
See that Mikey. Barry
White? Come in here real smooth here.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So look, without really taking too much time, I want to allow you all to introduce yourselves to the audience that's watching. Just take a quick minute to introduce yourself, give a little background about yourself before we jump in to today's conversation. So starting at my top right, I'm gonna go ahead and start with Sam. Go ahead and reintroduce yourself, bro.
All right. Well, hello world. Y'all know me, Sam Adams. What do we do now? Backdrop, y'all know I recently retired. Ever since then, I've been handling training and development at a current firm or a company here. Other than that, avid gamer, cook, just all around good guy. That's all I got.
Yeah. Sam was in there making one rib. He was in there.
one rib.
How
much for one rib? One rib.
No sauce on it either.
It's so harder to make one rib than a whole rack.
Mm-hmm. It takes technique. So
hard skills.
They're hard skills. So next up, I'm going. Hey, take a moment, man, and introduce yourself, since we already know where you're from. But go ahead and take a moment. Go ahead.
I'm Wo, and like Dame said, we've known each other the longest. Last year, I think it would have been 30 years. 30 years last year. Yep. Yeah. We both migrated to this Northern Virginia area. He came from the north. I came from the south. And with the help of my brothers, I finally was able to settle down, and do the right thing. And unlike the other two here, I went in the military younger, the late 80s, but enjoyed my time in there, and I'm enjoying my time here. Hanging out with my fam here.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you, bro, man. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to sit here and chop it up with me. And definitely, last but not least, Mr. Mike Anderson, the golden voice, the Barry White of the group, the baby of the group. Mike, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
All right, well, I'll kick off the evening vibes. Mike Anderson, 38. I was in the military for about 7 years, Air Force. And I know these fine gents for what going on 6 for Woe, about 5 for Dame, 5-4 for Dame and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, right now it's cybersecurity. In the military, I was doing construction. So bit of a pivot.
Yeah, big pivot, and I think that's important, though. I wanted to, like I said, let you gentlemen kind of give some background because I think it's important. We talked about it, before we got on. A lot of times we don't get to see this type of collective, a positive image of Black men who have come from different paths, obviously,
Yep.
but have made their way, become successful throughout different paths of life. The career you gentlemen have been able to use your service time in the armed services to really help better yourselves, and I think that's an important message that a lot of people get to see. But I do want to start out just by talking about, a lot of men and women who have served in the military have seen a lot of racial prejudice. I'm pretty sure you all may have at different points experienced it or seen it. And this is I'm talking about over time, the history of the armed services. But I'm curious to know what each of your experiences were like while you served. And I'm going to go ahead and start, Mike. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and kick. Well, you want to start? Go ahead. Well, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, and the reason I want to start is because, like I said, I started way before the other two.
Okay.
Before Mike and Sam, and so I think things have changed since
Okay.
I was in.
Okay.
Being in the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
I felt, being stationed on an aircraft carrier with
Mm-hmm.
at certain times out when we were deployed, there were over 6,000 guys.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
I honestly can say that I did not feel, I didn't see, I did not experience any prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike the other branches,
Mm-hmm.
because like the Navy, you're advanced according to the scores for tests that you take.
Gotcha.
The Navy take a test every March and September, I think it is, and
Mm-hmm.
so you're advanced according to those scores.
Gotcha.
Unlike the others, where it is you are advanced according to your achievements and
Mm.
things like that.
Hmm.
But once I left the carrier, I went to a prestigious command. I'm not going to name them, but
Okay.
I went to a prestigious naval command, and out of, I'm going to say, 45 people that work there was only 3 people of color.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Only 3.
Wow.
And I know that I got the position because my aunt, who was in the Navy, knew the people,
Mm.
at that command.
Mm-hmm.
She put in a good word for me. She asked me if I wanted to, to apply. And I was like, I don't even know who these people are.
Right.
That was
Right.
my first 4 years in. I'm like, I don't even know who they are. But she was like, yeah, put in your application.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I got it because they knew her.
Wow.
But
Wow.
yeah,
That.
out of 40 something people, stationed at that command, it was only 3 of us. That was it.
I mean that. I mean, I find not to say I find that ironic. That's like you said in your time in the era that you went.
Hmm.
I don't think we weren't living in, like you said, today's time or as time progressed. And I'm
Right.
curious to know then, maybe because I think so from your time, then Sam, you're kind of like in between, the two. So I'm curious to know then maybe from your experience, what was it like for you while you served?
I mean, you got to understand, I spent like 4 decades from the
Whew.
90s to the 2000s, then the
Whew.
2010s, and then the 2020s.
Mm.
Um, and it was cool, but then you have to think about it like it's all about, like Will said, like for the Army, it's about what unit you go to.
Okay.
Because you have your different jobs within the Army as far as combat arms,
Right.
support, whether it's HR, like I was in HR, if you were logistics. And normally when you go to more of your support units or specialties, you have more minorities there. So the norm was like, it's okay. But then like in the mid 2000s, I ended up in an MP unit, which was totally different. You know, just like Will said, now you become the minority and they cut from a different cloth. And then it's a different responsibility too, because you start seeing those trends. Like I could get hemmed up and I probably would get UCMJ or even kicked out.
Wow.
But then you might have a person opposite color of me probably do the same thing, if not worse. Right. And it's like, well, he's a PT stud, or you know, he has a tour underneath his belt. Let's go ahead and kind of, you know, I don't want to say shun it, but you know, let's give him a second opportunity. So, right. You know, just like with everything, even in corporate America, like we're cut from a different cloth, and we know the responsibility that we have, because if we mess up, we just know those repercussions would be a whole lot different than our counterparts. So you have to walk different. You have to talk different. You have to, you just know that spotlight will be on you more.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. And so it's basically the same as if you were out here civilian, even in the civilian world, you're kind of looking at a lot of the same shine under the light, if you will.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've seen plenty of dudes. Like, I have a gang of folks. I mean, we're still cool to this day, but like their span was like maybe 2-3 years tops, and that was just because they did something wrong, whether it was failing a PT test, failing a urinalysis, or something like that. Something happened, but there was no second chance given. But I've seen second chances happen
for others.
For others, we'll say that.
We'll say, that man, right. I want to keep it peachy because I want, you guys
right.
I don't want you, calling out nobody or nothing. So
hey, Dame, and this is a different conversation. Just for the simple fact that I'm out now. So
right, and that's what I say. You're out now, and I mean, you're all out now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a little bit different.
But it's a little bit different. I get it. What's up, Will?
Hey, Dame, let me go back. As Sam is talking, and I'm thinking back. I said I did not experience any racism while I was on the ship, but I was wrong, because I remember in the late 80s we could not congregate as black men, because at the time there were only men on the ship. There were no females. If it was 3 or 4 or more of us, that was a problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, that was a problem. And there was a time, I mean, when we went on our 6-month deployment, we couldn't, in the late 80s, you was having the high top fades and things. Right. No. They told us we couldn't have that type of hairstyle. Now, you know what? And I'm remembering this now.
Right.
They were like, you can't have that type of hairstyle and going out and representing the Navy in these different countries.
And that was that specific though to men of color?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Interesting.
It's the same thing. Well, it was the same thing now, but they changed the regulations now. So beforehand, the texture of your hair, braids. They went on like a lynch hunt with women about like dreads and everything, because they said that it was like faddish and everything. So you had, they had to fight just to keep dreadlocks or to keep box braids
or natural hair. For people of color.
For people So just as long as the regulation was applicable to the others, it was fine. But then when it came to us and having standards, it was totally different.
Wow.
The sad part is they've had to create laws that says you can't discriminate against someone because of the hairstyles that they have.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it is directed specifically to us, to people of color.
That's crazy. So Mike, I'm here because you're probably the most recent, if you will, along with Sam, probably to in your service. But what was it like for you and your experience while you were serving?
Well, it was a bit more covert than from what I'm hearing.
Right.
It wasn't as direct, and at the same time, it was copious amounts of ignorance.
Wow.
Because I guess we coming in, everybody's pretty young, and it wasn't to be inherently racist. It was just people knew each other were other, and would take advantage of their privilege in whatever format. Now, what made it the time when I saw the difference between a privilege within the military to an actual exhibition of racism was actually Mississippi in tech school, where one of the guys who was in my squadron, he had family in Mississippi, and everything was cool. You know, I couldn't really tell the difference of people I didn't like or people who didn't like me for any reason other than just personal preference.
Right.
Until a group of us who hung out on base, the two black guys, me and this other fellow, they were like, yeah, you don't want to come where we're coming. And I took it as individual offense, like, oh, is it an issue with you and I? And he's like, nah, my family really don't like black people.
Wow.
And so it took me aback because I can't really have an issue with you because it seemed like everything was cool, or maybe this was something that was a residual issue you had, and it just didn't come up to the forefront. And I don't know if he's protecting me of saying that. So at first, I'm like, I didn't really know how to gauge this running now.
Do I go ham on this dude or what? Like, yo, like for real, like, yo,
right. Because he's trying to protect me at the same time,
right?
You know, so it was one where it reminded me that this is real, especially most of my life experiences. I wasn't in places where it was majorly white in that essence, because talking about New York, Jamaica, Miami, now I'm in Mississippi. I only hear stories of that type of racism, you know. So getting that in the military, I'm like, oh, it is like that. It's
like
just
that.
like that.
So I'm curious to know, because I see both you and Sam shaking your head. Like, was there any conversation though after that? Like, did you go any further? Like, any dialogue further as to really what was at the root, I guess, of that? Was that just his family's experience, or was that just something that you was like, you just left it alone? Like, he's trying to protect me, I'm gonna leave it.
Well, Mike's not accustomed to like sunset towns and stuff like that. And you were like in Biloxi or something
he's
like
not
that,
from
right,
the South.
Right.
100%.
You're at Biloxi, right?
I'm above the Mason-Dixon for most of it.
Yeah. So like, we're used to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm used to, like, because I'm from Texas, so there are certain towns that we can't even drive in.
Right.
You know, like I was going to like state playoffs or whatever in Texas. And I remember we stopped in, I want to say it was Maxdale or something like that. Now, mind you, Maxdale just had an incident from dragging a black man through the street, like parading him through the street.
Wow.
This had to be 94, 95-ish. Anyways, we ended up just making a pit stop, fueling, trying to get some snacks or whatnot.
Right.
And then it went from like two of the others to like a whole mob. Wow. And basically they were letting our coaches know, like, your boys better not get off this bus.
Wow.
You know, or, you know, something's going to happen to them. It's crazy, right? Same thing.
Right.
I was in Louisiana because my father was in, I'm like a third generation in the service. And while we were there, like not even 10 miles down the street, we were playing a basketball game against DeRitter or something like that. And it was like doggone pitchforks and torches. I mean, we dusted them, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it was it was a diverse team that we had. They were upset that the team was diverse, you know, and probably that they got smacked down from this diverse team. So it was no like dapping anybody up. We had to make a straight beeline to the bus.
Game over.
Man, so
we're on the way home.
And the crazy part about it, to go what Mike was saying, like in the Army, they always say that, you know, we don't see color, we see green. And that's like total BS, because like there are barriers there. You know, they, as far as 6 years ago, they stopped taking the DA photo. So if you're trying to move up in the rank, you have to make sure that your evaluation is squared away. And one of the things that we used to have was a photo of yourself. And like that image is in front of all of your senior leadership to sit there and see. So they just took that away over the past couple of years just to make it fair, per se.
Right.
You know, they take out your race, they take out your photo. There's things that they do now that weren't in play beforehand to try to have that balance. Because if I'm with a whole bunch of peers and I see my boy up there, you know what I'm saying? I would be like, you know, and they probably still have these talks too. But, you know, now I'm more susceptible to like look to my left and right with my other peers and be like, yeah, we need to go ahead and promote this guy. You know, so
that's crazy.
You know, it's funny how you suppress a lot of memories until things are said.
I must say, because I see you were sitting there the whole time that they were talking, and I'm watching. I can see in your mind and your head going, you kind of, not to say, look, bro, look, therapy is needed, but it looks like you've been holding on to things.
You know, and I didn't think about this until Mike mentioned Mississippi. To boot camp, I went to A school in Mississippi.
Okay.
And you know, if you didn't have watch, you were allowed to leave the base. But I knew, you know, we were told, you get back on base, either you get back on base or you get in your hotel room that you rent for the weekend before the sun go down. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean,
and I remember that.
And that was really a reality that a lot of our men and women have probably experienced. And like you said, some it becomes a repressed memory. You know, until you have, you know, conversations like this. And I'm glad that we're able to share that, because this is something that, like myself as a citizen who hasn't served, these are things that I've never experienced. Right. I've probably experienced it on a different level, coming from New York and different things. So it's totally different, but I'm glad that we got a chance to share that. And I want to go a little bit further because I'm curious to know, just in a quick synopsis, you know, Black History Month celebrations. Because a lot of times, you know, we look at the corporate world today. They come out with they roll out their best colored person to be the face of Black History Month, and it's going to make it all better. So I'm just curious to know for you gentlemen, you know, being in the military, what was Black History Month celebrations like? Did it feel kind of like corporate America? Whoa, you're laughing. So you know, was it similar to that, or was it kumbaya? Like what was all of that like? And I'm going to go ahead and start with Mike on this one.
Yo, there was none.
Oh, there was none. Period.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. Do they?
Wait. Let him have it. Let him have it. I know where he's going. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Because I mean, like from MLK Day in January, that was one thing, and then now when you got into the month of February, it was just like, oh, it's Black History Month,
right?
And that was it. That was a degree of celebration. Like, yo, acknowledge that it's the month. And from that, it's like if it wasn't taken up personally or the conversations weren't started, it just wasn't something that was supported by squadron, by command. It was you might see they might throw on fried chicken in the chow hall and do that thing today. Seriously.
Hey, Soul Food Fridays.
Right, Soul Food
Friday.
Make it feel good.
I thought they stopped celebrating Black History Month for a few years. That's what I thought.
Really? So from the time that you were in, because I mean, nothing happening at all. Period. Nothing happening.
Nothing whatsoever.
And it continued on. They said they threw in a Soul Food Friday. What they threw some chicken and watermelon on the menu. You know,
they didn't even. No. See, they didn't even do that for us. Not on the ship. Not on the ship. No. Nope. Didn't even happen. Didn't even. You know what? Every Friday when we were out at sea, we'd have lobster and steak. I mean, crab legs and steak. Even though the box on the steaks, on the steak it said fit for human consumption. But on Thanksgiving, they tried to feed us chitlins.
What?
Yes, they did. Every Thanksgiving, they tried to feed us chitlins. Yeah, but February
consumption as well, or y'all just have to believe.
Feeding you test tube meat, like
yes. I'm not lying to you. I'm not lying. The box of steak said fit for human consumption.
Okay.
Yes, but February rolled around. February was just the shortest month of the year. There was no recognition of Black History Month whatsoever.
Okay.
Nope. Oh,
All right, well, we're gonna move on then, because obviously that did not translate. Well, go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
I got you. And
Okay.
like, Mike, when did you come in?
20. No, that's when I left. 2008.
Okay. So back in the 90s, we actually did celebrate. And it, like Mike said, I think it's based on the unit that you were in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my first unit was 18th Soldier Support Group, or 18th Personnel Service Battalion. Predominantly people of color and everything.
Okay.
So when it came to, I think two things had to happen. One, you needed to have a really good EOL or EOR, which was your equal opportunity representative, because they were the main ways. They were the main ones to take care of certain events like that.
Okay.
And I mean, shoot, I've even participated. I was like an MC back in '98, I want to say, for our Black History, you know, observance, I guess you want to say.
Okay.
I think what happened with the turn of the century was now it's easier for me to sit here and just push out an email about Black history and do a quote every once in a while. You know, but like you didn't hear about it unless something came up. You know, it wasn't observed unless somebody had, like I said, you had to have a really good representative to sit there and make that push to acknowledge it, because we will acknowledge everything else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When it came to Mexican Heritage Month, Pacific Islander Month, you know, they key in and they focus on it. But then when it comes to just your Black history, you know, unless it was us that was in charge of it, then it started disappearing. Start fading out.
So, like saying, as you mentioned before, units, squadrons, and just in general in the military, you can see it as a microcosm of cities. So it depends on who's in office is what agenda is going to move forward.
Yep.
And overall, like there may be a push where the big blanket, the country, so to speak, is making a movement, but that's very slow. So the experiences will change greatly. And sometimes there won't be anything at all.
Yeah. It was a turn after 9/11. And I'm not putting it on 9/11, but it's like you start getting so focused, so war driven. You know what I'm saying? Like all the other, like I said, everything else is just a mission, a mention. But it's like, let's focus on the mission that we have right now. And the thing is that like the Army hasn't even really bounced back. They're working on their diversity and inclusion, but we've been so far removed from it that don't nobody know how to react or don't nobody know what to do. So it just becomes a regular month until you get to like February 28th or 29th or whatever. Then you're rolling right into March. Right. And then it's a different topic or subject.
We done moved on.
Yeah, exactly. It's too late by then. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
yeah, I got something to say, but I'm gonna wait because I'm pretty sure you're gonna bring politics into this.
Oh, well, that's because funny enough that you bring that, because I wanted to get that aspect, because our armed services falls under a lot of political craziness and you know how politics play and how our government moves shifts a lot of things. And I want to switch gears on that. You know, what do you feel about the current state? Because I know from the time that you all served, it was different, but in this current state, you know, what do you feel as far as it relates to people?
I think things have definitely changed because of the that we had. But I know again in the late 80s and to the mid 90s, when I served, it was your commander in chief. Your commander in chief. You serve your commander in chief. It wasn't what his political standpoint was. It was you served your commander in chief.
Right.
But now it's become, I feel that it has become so political. January 6th, they've had a whole lot of veterans and active duty members that were caught up in that.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's why, because I just think that shift from your time, and Mike and Sam might be able to say something different, but I do really think that, like you said, I know some other veterans that have talked in the same manner, like you served, your commander in chief, but now it's a political gain or a political ploy at times. And I think that's caused the disconnect And I'm curious though, even if you could, well, just talk a little bit from your time. What do you think though that's done for our people though? You know, when I say our people, I'm saying the black culture, the black community. Do you think that's had any further impact on our community as a whole?
Of
For those
course,
who serve?
yeah, yeah. It has. It has. You know, because you know when I was there serving, serving your country as a black man, you know, it was like a privilege. You know, oh yeah, I'm a black man in the military. Yeah, but yet and still, a lot of us went in because we had no other options.
Good point. Good
You
point.
know,
Good point.
right? We went in because we had no other options. You know, it was either go to military or you're gonna go to jail soon.
Good
You know,
point.
but it was yes, I was proud to serve in the military back then. But
Right.
you know, if I had to do it today,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I would have chosen it. Not
That's it.
today. Not
That's
with today's temperature. Not with
that's
today's
very
climate. No.
Yeah,
that's a
that's
very
kind of
No.
interesting
where my
statement.
like the
Go ahead, Mike.
ignorance that I came in with. The part of that was I felt that we're all here for one reason. Like we're here to either you inherently want to defend your country, or you just wanted a better life and this was an option,
Right.
or the
Right.
other
Right.
option was going that jail route.
Right.
So at a certain point, it's just like we're all here. We're just getting ready to be war fighters, and we don't like it in unison, and that really does bring people together, in my opinion. Now, when it deviates, is like when you have the free and idle time,
Right.
and then start thinking about the nuances and start leveraging privileges. That's when the racism started to become more inherent. So it was like the more time away from tech school, the more time away from basic training, is the more that it boiled down to the basic training. We ain't have time to think about what color you are. You got to run. You got to do what you got to do.
Right.
So we
Right.
go on home. And then during the deployment was kind of similar too. Like if you have a real heavy deployment, you don't got time to worry about what color you are. It sucks for us unilaterally. We just want to do our job and go home.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
the idle
Exactly.
time would always pop up, that's when the issues would pop up.
Yep.
And with
Exactly.
to bring in the
Yeah.
touch on the politics too, there weren't any major, lack of a better term, like any major black issues that happened in America, other than Obama becoming president.
Right.
Right. So at that point, it was relatively vanilla.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Straightforward. Everybody just doing the thing. Nothing really. There weren't any. There wasn't anything to be enraged about with the racial tension.
Right.
The racial tension came in at quite a again a covert level when Barack Obama became president, because it's like it's hard to really say that this is an issue when this is an our
Right.
command.
Right. Right.
And it was because people were saying, you know what, not gonna serve a
Right.
black president.
President. I
Correct.
do
I'm not
recall.
serving a black
Heard a lot of
president.
people. Right.
He's not my president because he's black. You know, but I think that between the what's it out in California, the Watts riots
Okay. Okay.
and the oh man, oh boy, that got beat up
George
What's it?
back in
Floyd,
the day. No,
Rodney
Oh, you
King,
talking about Rodney
Rodney
King?
King.
Rodney
Rodney
King.
King. Yeah.
Between riot, the Watts riot, and Rodney King, there
Mhm.
really, wasn't much going on. And then after Rodney King, it was the OJ thing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Right.
And then it was we really didn't have, even though, and I say that only because we didn't have the internet.
Well, and I was gonna say
There were things going on. We
right.
just did not. We only know about our local
Right,
things.
but you
You know
didn't know it nationally or globally the way that we do now with
exactly,
social media, the explosion
exactly.
of
Yeah.
social media and everything, and the
I
internet.
mean, come. Back in '87 when I went in the Navy,
Hmm.
I would not have known about what went on in Memphis because I didn't live in that area.
Right, right.
I
It
would
was
not have
centralized. It
known
was
that.
localized. It was localized. Right.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. But
That goes
now
back.
with internet and cell phones and videos and everything is
It
put out there
exploded.
now.
Put out there, it's
Yeah,
exploded. You gonna say
Yeah.
something,
yeah,
Mike?
Oh yeah, that comes in with the military thing. It just
Mm,
further exacerbates it. If you don't have anything, if there may be times when you're so busy you don't catch up with the news, but
right.
it will collide as soon
Yeah.
as you get that free time. You get it all in stereo about hey, this is what's going on. This is what's in current events because at the time when Barack Obama went to office, I was in Germany. So even with that, I was pretty separate from what was happening domestically. And so when it came into racial issues, they subsided a bit as well, because everybody was pretty much lonely. Everybody was away from their families. They could either use that loneliness to say that there is an accountability for, you know, if they do something, they don't have that domestic pressure to say like, oh, I got to do this for my neighbor, or, you know, I'm going to be judged like this, or these rules apply, so on and so forth. Now, when it came into Barack Obama being president, I'm having Germans telling me that, you know, aren't you proud that you have a black president? I was proud before, and you telling me something that I'm not even really that aware of.
Trying to educate you or something.
What I just did? Like, you ain't proud about these 6 months I just knocked out? You telling me I'm proud I got a black president? That I don't see him. And this is really real to me right now.
Right.
And when it came an expectation of this is you know what it should be. And similar, like right in line with what you saying. Well, we get hit with so much information really quickly. And then with it, there's an expectation of a response.
Outside of that, hip hop culture, right? Hip hop culture, a lot of us probably, well, not a lot of us, a lot of people probably didn't think hip hop would still be here almost 50 years later, right? So let's keep that real. But for our generations coming up, young, old to where we are now, it plays a vital role in our culture. But I'm curious to know, like, as we move forward, we like to think that we're advancing as a community, but is hip hop still as important to our culture? And has it done anything to better our movement or cause, or has it actually hurt it?
Yeah, that one.
Who wants to go? Let's let Mikey. Let's let Mikey the younger. Let's let him start this. Let's let him start.
I want to see where this goes.
100%. That's a perfect demonstration of us not taking advantage of the thing that we created, and then another group took advantage of it, and then now we just follow along with it.
Right.
In that, how many of the originators of hip hop are in positions of power to determine where hip hop is going, other than to continue performing it?
Right.
So that affects the content.
Yeah.
What's actually happening in hip hop, and also it affects the longevity, the sustainability of these people. Because we see it now where we got legacy acts that come out, and it's kind of hard for a legacy act to come out and speak positively, speak progressively, without just doing the hits. And that's kind of that minstrel show type deal.
Yeah.
But it's like, how long could you do that before saying that, like, I could do the hits, but really I have a message for my people?
Right.
And also, when you're in contrast with what current hip hop is at, you don't have the spoonful of sugar. They don't want to no, you don't have the energy to figure.
You don't have the energy. Exactly.
Real.
Exactly.
You're not gonna make it into the strip clubs. Even if you have a positive message, and you see even some of the current rappers now, they'll put in a positive message because they've done the time in the drill, and the trap, in the strip club music. But it's still, I feel like there is a high detriment to the music that is continually ingested. And I love rap music,
right,
as candy, knowing the effect that it has. So I feel like it's a detriment right now, unfortunately. Even though I partake, it's just it doesn't give that continued wholesome nature that I remember from hip hop, where I could have backpack rap, conscious rap. I could have my want to go to the club, want to dance, all that could exist in parody. Versus now there's a heavy bias towards things that are not of benefit to me or the generations following me.
I think it was Jim Jones I was watching the other day. He was talking about how, again, we've allowed the industry to capitalize. So now everything is analytics, right? Everything is, what do your numbers look like on the internet, or what does it look like on social media? And not to take anything away from people who are being signed, because they are artists, but he went on to say is that, but that music is temporary. They're looking for these one-hit wonders, and they're not really building artists anymore, like the Nas or the Big or the Snoops or Pac, whoever it was, right? The Jay-Z,
right? Exactly.
They're looking for these one-hit wonders, and he said, really, at the end of the day, and I agree. Look, I'm not mad with your music. I'm going to the club. I'm bumping. Your music is bumping. I'm nodding my head. He said, but they're one-hit wonders now, and that takes away from the music itself, the art itself on how it was created. And I just had to agree with him, and that's why I really wanted to ask this question, because to me, right now, we're at a point where the culture, I believe, is not helping anymore. It's not putting us in a place to still have our foot or have a foot in the door anymore. I think it's moving us further away from having any positive impact through our music. And I'm gonna put a pin in it there. Sam, you have something you want to say?
I think the problem is that hip hop was organic. And like you said, we had all these different, all your different regions and everything. 2000s came along, and then all of a sudden hip hop became it's commercialism. But now the question is, like, how far are you willing to go to get to where you want to be? You know, and it's the same sound. Like, I don't know. I listen to a lot of Shade 4 or 5. I ain't trying to plug anybody or anyone. But like, and I mainly listen to it for the talk, but you know, of course, they have to play music, and when they play music, like, everyone sounds the same.
The same.
They just got a different name. It'll be
a different tone.
It'll be a YMB, and then it'll be a YMB Blue or a YMB Black or
a little this,
a little this, a little that, right?
YMB Young Boy, but it's like their cadence, their flow, their message is all the same, and that's where we get away from. And like, I'm afraid of hip hop because you do have, like, you still have your underground stuff,
right?
That still is conscious driven, that still, you know, flows. Well, it flows smooth. It's something for you to like, because you know, we're all, like you said, you're in certain moods, you want to listen to certain things. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm just afraid that, I'm not saying it's an untapped resource, it's just a hidden resource, and I'm afraid if that commercialism hits it, you know what I'm saying, it's going to get convoluted, just like with everything else.
Yeah.
So
it's
just tough right now.
That really leads me though to this question though, because that bag and that struggle is about Black voices, right? We talked about the culture, and now we're going to talk about like recognizing Black voices and our leaders. You know, and where are and because I've asked this before, or in the first episode, you know, talking about the church, about the Black leaders in the church, but just period. In your opinion, you know, where are, and is there a space still for, you know, Black voices and Black leadership, and where are they, or do you feel that there are any left?
There's a major void.
No, I feel like the leaders are here. They're like at the cusp, but they don't have the support. Because I mean, like, if somebody's really saying they're a leader, that's already my first flag that maybe you shouldn't be. Right. Because like, somebody wants to step up into that position, usually people exalt them into that position and say, you got it, move forward with this. So I don't feel like as like a community, we're really exalting the people who have the right idea without their fear of being torn down by the same people that built them up. You know, so I feel like our leaders are here. They're just in kind of a remission. Say, like, I see how y'all move.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I like what he said, because I tend to agree with that, with Mike's point. I think they're here, but the same people that want to exalt them, because that's how it happened in the past, are the same people in our communities that are quicker to rip them down. So I agree with Mike on that one. So I'm interested to hear what you and Wo and Sam have to say.
Well, you know, a leader without followers is just a man on a walk. You know.
Okay.
So I feel that there are leaders out there, but they don't know how to reach this generation.
Good point.
Because this generation is making a major impact. In the world, and we need to reach them, and we don't know how. Man, because we feel that, you know what, it's like you know, we're stuck in our ways. We feel this is the way it should be. No, we need to learn to speak their language.
I like that. I like to call ourselves the old sage. Well, we the old sage in the room, and a lot of times we don't know how to talk.
We don't know how to
talk to our millennials.
Yes,
because you know, look, I did it this way, and this is how it was done.
This is the way it should be done. Right. Yeah.
So I will agree with you on that fact. Our communication is terrible, and sometimes we just need to get our old self out the way. We just need move to the left
because they're doing their own movement.
True.
I feel that they're not doing it the right way because they need guidance.
Yes.
They need guidance.
Facts.
You know, they need because this Black Lives Matter thing, that's not us.
No, it's definitely not us.
That's them.
You
know, that is them.
100%.
But they need guidance, but we just need to figure out how to guide them.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sam, I see you shaking your head in the back. What you have to say on it, Sam?
I don't know where to start. Let me see. So, leaders, do we have any? Yes, but I think the issue with current leaders is the fact that I'm trying to choose my words lightly here.
I understand.
I think the issue with current leaders right now, like we said, everything is manufactured right now, and instead of the problem that people don't want to get behind leaders is the fact that they have instead of helping the people or being that servant leader, they have their own agenda. And if their own agenda isn't accomplished, the next thing you know, they pop smoke and disappear. They're becoming a rarity now that's out there. Hence, you have the issue with leading our current generation because it's a dime a dozen. And then I don't really think it's the message that needs to be changed or needs to be reached to a younger generation. I just think that it's that acceptance to listen, because without that, then that's where you have that barrier at. You know, it's been several times that I sit and I just talk. And especially in my office, because like I'm one of the few people of color that's in a supervisor type of role. So I have a lot of people that come and talk to me just based off of my real world experience and everything. But there's a gap, you know, because it's like some folks just don't want to listen to us because they might not want to. They don't think that they will ever experience the things that we experienced before. So it doesn't pertain to them. Or if there's certain things that's going on in the world that they feel it will never reach me, whether it's location or just experience, like I would never come across that. So it's like, I don't want to say it's like give up or why talk. It's just a different audience. And sometimes the only way that they're going to learn is like that trial by fire, and they sit there and they experience it themselves. I think the reason, and then there's doubt too, you know. You brought up like doubt, church and pastors and everything, and I start shaking my head because I start thinking about the Potter House and Creflo Dollar. And,
we ain't gotta mention we ain't gotta mention no names now. We ain't gotta mention no names.
But it's the same.
I'm not going there. I'm gonna leave that in that conversation.
Hey, whenever you have that next conversation, make sure you put me on it. But that's my whole point about a servant leader. Like, ain't none of these folks servant leaders. It paints a picture. We talk about hip hop and how it paints a black eye or a disdain with what's going on. It's the same thing about these leaders that like we have, like, it's your job to lead us. It's your job to help us with this movement. And then because of their own agenda, like helping people get put on a back burner. So it don't nobody want to follow them now.
Nobody want to follow them.
And I think that we've had some black leaders in the past that have been assassinated, and they were followed because people believed that they were representing the movement.
Right.
Exactly. And then we have, you know, some leaders that tried to be leaders that were following those leaders. People see them as more as like you said, Sam, they're following their own agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not they don't feel that they're sacrificing anything for the movement.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So, I feel like there is that, like, and then that's the difference. Those aren't leaders. Like, there should be definitive names between the two, because there are some people who they have an agenda and it might be mutual, but it's a one-time goal. You know, say like their agenda is to build a school and they want to build a school because they want passive income. Can the school benefit the community? Cool, let's do it. Now, I don't want to take this person as being a leader for the ultimate interest of the Black community, but they have a valid point.
Right.
So I feel like it's like leadership is something that's special, that's bespoke. You don't come by leaders too often,
which is true.
And so, like finding somebody in that position, I'm thinking about, like, for instance, Earn Your Leisure, right? I feel like that movement is in itself as a concept is leadership, not just one specific person. That they are moving the Black community forward through economic growth. Right. And it's nothing but here's how you get informed. They do have an agenda where they look to sell more of what they're looking to like more specific.
Right. Specific to it. Yep.
But most of it's free. Yeah. You only do that if you listen to what they say and just on a free channel, you should be able to change some things in your life. Now, as far as creating a unity, if we had something that had that type of leadership in other aspects, then we can get it, because that's another response to the way that kids get it now. It's a little quicker, and it also has to be highly digital. It has to be consumable in a way where they don't feel like this is foreign and they're not told culture. Like you had mentioned game earlier, if you get it on in 30 seconds and keep hitting them with these little shots, you have a better chance than giving them 15 minutes a game at one seating.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how good the game is.
Right. It's true.
That's not how they're used to getting it. So I feel like finding that middle ground, which is going to be a two-way thing, is like for some of our esteemed leaders and even our esteemed community drivers, like people just with good ideas and want to change something. Them reaching down and figuring out the best way to communicate, and also with our younger generation really leaning into these people in the local community, because it's one major part of the internet is it's like, I can touch everything, but I'm not really a part of it either. Because it is temporary. So if there's something that's accessible, and then you can say, like, I'm here in this digital space, but I am also regional. And then you can get that into more things. I feel like that's kind of bridging the gap with the communication styles between some of guidance, mentors, like leaders, whatever you want to call it, is different.
And I think that's what we are lacking. I think our society is lacking mentors.
Well, so let me ask you, so before you say our society, you mean the society as a whole, or is it specific to the Black community?
Black community.
Okay.
Black community, because it's like, I guess it's like, you look at and my experience is, you have a white community, you have these white people that has this money, they will find someone and bring them up. But you don't really find that in our community.
True.
You don't find that. I mean, because the Black Wall Street. If we were to do that today, it would be phenomenal. It would be very different. Rosewood. It would be so different today. But who's going to do that?
So let me, and I don't mean to cut you, so ladies and gentlemen, you got to go back and listen to the previous, series, the second part of this, because we talked about that, and I walked away with, so my question too was, why doesn't that happen, or why hasn't that happened? And the one thing that I walked away with, is fear.
Fear.
We live in a world now, so even though we've become more successful, they want you to believe that you're making more and you're doing more, but on an individual level, right? No one's going to step out and take the forefront, because one, you have too much to lose now, right? The fear of losing all of that is greater than anything else, but also the fear. What has history shown us is every time that we've made an advancement as a community, we've been slaughtered, we've been burned down,
but
it's all been taken away.
I understand what you're saying, Dame, but I don't think that that's the problem. But that's just me speaking. I think it is fear amongst ourselves. We can't trust each other. We can't trust each other to get to where we need to be. It's not the fear of what's going to happen to us. It is, I don't trust you enough to bring you on with me to create this because I just don't trust you. I don't trust you because of the color of your skin. I don't trust you.
So we're back to the crabs in the barrel.
Exactly. The reason they do not put a top on the crab in the barrel because they don't have to worry because the crab that gets up, they're gonna pull them back down. They're gonna pull them back down. I don't. In today's climate, I mean, the way the world is today, I don't think we have to worry about. We build a community, and the white folk come and burn it down. We don't have to worry about that. I really don't think that's the problem.
No.
I don't think that's the problem.
Yes,
I don't think
do.
that. I don't think that's the problem.
We're in a time right now where you don't have to do bloodshed. Like if blood is shed, everybody loses. So it ain't gonna be that way where they're gonna come and burn it down, but it definitely ain't gonna get off the ground. So
yeah, that's the thing. It ain't gonna get off the ground.
It can still be burned to the ground, but like tactics in warfare, right? Like I don't have to. If I'm gonna affect you, I'm gonna affect your pockets and everything, right? It's the same thing with right now. Like, you know, I could kill your character, I could remove your finances, I could foreclose or condemn whatever you're trying to establish, and that will hurt you more because you're trying to
cancel culture. Cancel culture.
It's not. I'm not even talking about cancel culture. That's a different topic. But I'm just talking about hurting you where it's affecting you and your livelihood. So that's what's happening right there. So it's just a more strategic way. Say again.
But that's just it.
Would be the worst thing because killing you would make you a martyr.
Exactly.
You to walk around looking disheveled to remind
everybody
around you this is what's going to happen.
So, I mean, that's a new wave right now. So like that's the movement that we're at now. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing. If you've got these black people that are, you know, in a higher tax bracket that can fund these banks and everything, then we won't have that problem. If it's black money creating.
So what you talk about, Whoa? So like I use that same example. Like, and look, I don't know Tyler Perry, I don't know Oprah Winfrey, I don't know Steve Harvey,
Magic Johnson.
So and I posed that to another set of friends. We were talking about something similar like this. Well, why haven't they done it? And I had to come back to the same thing though. It's fear. It's the same thing that we we're all talking about, because one of the things that I remember back when Oprah was at her peak, and I remember she went over to England and she bought out whatever this famous I don't know, clothing store or whatever. She bought it out. But when she showed up, they denied her entry because she was black. So if Oprah Winfrey, with her own money, at the pinnacle of who she was, everybody knew who she was global. If the establishment can still show you or knock you down to let you know, hey, this is not for you. So then the fear kicks in, right? Because I'm thinking, because I've said for a long time, why haven't these powerful people done exactly what you're talking about?
Because again, that's Oprah as an individual.
But again, why can't she know Steve Harvey?
That's one of our top black women, though.
But they all have the same service.
She's still the minority, though. Just think about it at this level too. Like we're talking about like sports and everything.
Everybody else on the way down.
We sit here and think about sports and think about all these different teams that have been come up to buy. And think about the Tyler Perrys, the Ushers, the Eddie Murphys, the Magic. Magic is the only one who's doing all right, but shoot, he still has to share that with somebody else too.
Right.
Because he has ownership of the Dodgers, he has ownership of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
He's got his own. He's got his own. What's the name of that company that
he doesn't own like full rights to any of these teams. He has to go in with somebody because he know that he can't do it by himself because he probably did, and people looked at him funky and was like, no.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, because he's going in. He's going into this with white partners,
right?
Because we have the United States has more millionaires than any other country in the world.
But it negates the fact that, like you just said, like if we have all our black millionaires get together and try to come up with something, then we will be all right. But the question that is the fact that we won't,
Because we don't trust each other.
It's not the fact of trust. It's the fact, again, of that backing and that actual ownership of it.
But why do we need backing from non-blacks if we got the money?
But hold on,
but how are you going to establish it though?
Like that? That's easy.
How
you get that whole thing down? But you ain't gonna get rid of a team if you know your homies are in there too. So if you got a team and you gotta have that allyship, because you know that if it's all black, that's an easy target. We ain't ready for that, especially at that high level. Well, I agree with you with the trust component though. But that we have deeply ingrained trust issues, and it comes from slavery, and it's been
a good point. I was gonna say over and over. Yep.
In the ways that Sam was talking about, you know, like, oh, they're gonna disenfranchise you, they're gonna take
blackball you, everything you broken everything.
Now you are a walking billboard to why you shouldn't trust somebody else. Don't be like that dude. Don't work with that dude. Don't work with that woman, because now you're gonna look bad. So if you get any money, don't tell anybody about it, because one thing you lack is unity for that reason. Because it's like,
but we're able to do that.
Bag with people shooting down the range, because if you get too close, then they'll be like, oh, they're just gonna drop a grenade and it's all over.
Yeah.
But we're able to do that. Black Wall Street did it. Look at Central Park. You know,
we're even at a time where we don't need to do it, because like there are people who got together and made Black Wall Street type moves. Like, even as hate on Tyler Perry as much as you want, Tyler Perry created damn near Hollywood City. Yeah. And so like it's like you could feel it anyway. He is recreating it. It's just not directly and inherently as an economic basis.
Yeah,
but he does have families who are eating off of it,
and they're living. They're living off of it.
Black people to run that compound that he has.
But the thing is he's
in a manner.
But he's the one. He is the one who is advancing off of this. He's the one who's enjoying the fruits of that labor. Only him. I mean, he's hiring black people. Yeah, but he's hiring them. But
this goes back to a conversation about a leader. I'm not looking at Tyler Perry to be a leader for the black community, but as far as an agenda that we can get behind and say like this is working for black families and this is bringing forward black communities, cool. But I'm not going to look to him to just be like, all right, what do we do with this now for the next 200 years?
And I think it all ties in, because I think we're all of these are valid points. All of us have valid points, and I love the perspective of it. But I do agree on a lot of different. So I would like to see him do more, but like Mike just said, I don't expect him anymore, because yes, he has done something that hasn't been seen or done in my lifetime ever, right?
Ever.
But the reality of it too is, though, and this is where, and I don't want to say, well, the crab in the barrel mentality, but the statement of, he's the one feeding off of it. Well, he should, because we live in a capitalistic society. He's providing for others, so he should reap the benefits, because that's what white America has done for so long. So I don't have any problem with him benefit, but I would like to see is more of a conglomerate.
That's what I'm saying. Now that I agree with. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Not just him, but if others come in and do the same thing he's doing, or doing something that will benefit, I mean,
that part I agree with. Now, that part is what I agree with. I would like to see more of a conglomerate movement,
exactly,
of similar actions that can help have more of an impact in our community. So look, it's been a great conversation, and as we come to the end of this conversation, gentlemen, I just want to ask. And I'm just going to ask this real simply. We've been having fun, but I want to know, in your opinion, and why is Black history important to you? And it doesn't have to be long, it could be short. And look, it may not be. I know some people that in our community that think that it's just a thing. Like we started out the conversation in the service, it wasn't. So I'm interested just to know if you have any input. I'm going to start with you, Wo, because I see the eyes just turning. So I'm gonna let you jump in and take us out on that one.
Black history is important to me because, as you all know, I have multiple biracial children, and I feel that my kids just don't understand or realize the importance of being Black. So Black history is important to me because I want them to understand where we came from. Raising kids in raising even just straight black kids in Northern Virginia is very different
Yeah.
because it's you know not not unlike myself growing up in the projects in Georgia, they didn't grow up like that.
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know
Yeah.
and even today I'm learning as I live, I'm learning more and more about how the black people contributed to the United and
Yeah.
but that's not taught in school.
Yeah. So
And
true.
yeah, it's not taught in
True.
black history is important to me. I want to stay from
Hmm.
you know
I can dig that. I respect that.
yeah.
I respect that. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. So, Sam, what does Black History mean to you?
I mean, Black History means everything to me. We started this conversation just talking about our service and everything, and to know that we had such a deep impact going back to like the Revolutionary War
Mm,
on to now. Um, like Will said, these aren't textbook items that you find out.
right.
So the more you deep dive into it, the more you become like appreciative of it. But the moment that we sit here and don't bring up Black history,
Mm.
it's going to disappear.
Whew.
So
Man, keep
we
it real.
have to continue those conversations. We have to embrace it beyond just a month.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it needs to be a 365
Yeah.
type of topic.
I
And
agree.
like I said, the moment we lose, I mean, this is really all that we have left in today's society.
Mm.
With everything becoming so convoluted, like
Yeah.
it'll disappear in a heartbeat. So you
No
got to
doubt.
keep those discussions out there.
Yeah.
In
I
order for
appreciate that,
us
man.
to
You will never
demand
lie.
equality, black history has to be taught.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Without question.
Yep.
Without question. Without question. So, Mike, I'm going to ask you the same question. Why is Black History important to you?
Well, I mean, it's most important because you can't gauge our progress if we don't know what happened before.
Mm.
So making sure we have a honest understanding of some of the hardships they went through before, the progress that we made, being prideful of that progress, and then knowing that we have a goal that is hedged against where we came from is quite
Mm.
important.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Black history, it goes back to the pride. Like, I mean, cultural pride is all that it is to stand up and represent. So knowing some of the influences we've had in America, the influences we continue to have, and where we wanted that to trend is based on Black history. So I think it really is um, I mean, it's just quintessential to have any to really get that will today
Mm.
to press forward is to know
Yep.
like where we came from and what we continue to do,
Mm-hmm.
and also to put some things in perspective at times when they say like, oh, it was better yesterday or it didn't have to do this. It's like, no, let's know what the truth is. Some things have got better over time and some things have got worse. But
Yeah.
if you don't have Black history, it won't make sense. You'll just be saying things.
Mm. Well said, gentlemen. And I'm gonna end it with the same thing. It's important to me uh for various reasons, but I think history we learn is really a discipline and is used to help or try to help make sense of the past and really understand how things have really come to be today. More importantly though, I think it's important as individual, and I'm going to speak to men because we're all men of color, because once you know where you come from and who you are, no one else can define you. The
Yeah.
system cannot define you. No
Right.
one can tell you anything just because of your color, because many of us come from greatness.
Yep.
Many of us are descendants of kings and queens. But once you understand that, there's no definition of who you are and who you can be. And
Nobody
I
can
hope
define you.
no one can. And I hope that, as we close out this episode, I hope those of you that are watching or listening walk away understanding that. Put some time and dive into yourself. Find out who you are. Do not let the system, the man, or whatever you want to call it, define you, because you're greater than that. And I'm going to put a pin in it. And before we go, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and ask today's guest just go ahead and if you want to leave any social media information, if you want anybody to reach out to you, if you care to have anyone reach out to you to talk, they want to talk service, they just want to talk because something that you said in here that maybe sparked a light for them today. Please go ahead and share your social media information before we close out this great episode. And I'm going to start up top with Sam.
Well, y'all know where to find me. Facebook, Sam Adams. Twitter, Sam Adams. Instagram, Sarge Gaming. Holla at me.
Holla at him because Sam be big in gaming, y'all. He almost got me twitching to go ahead and get back into some PlayStation or something. But I don't know if I'm ready yet because Sam retired now and he's retired and moved on to something else. He got a little more time on his hands, but he got me itching. So whoa, please do the same.
Hey, I'm Whoa. I don't do that social media thing. I'm old school. But if you want to reach, knows how to find me.
Hey, look, he take telegrams.
It's my man. It's my man. Well, I tell you, mind your business.
he got a two-way pager.
Yeah, he's still doing the sky pager. He's like, and it don't work, so you can't call me. Don't bother.
And it don't work, so
it don't work.
My bad. I didn't get that. I didn't get it.
It's all good. And Mike, same thing for you, man. If you want to share any information, man, it's totally up to you, bro. I appreciate you.
Oh man, same thing with the socials. I don't really can't be reached. I don't even know if I want y'all to reach me. But if you can find me, like hit up Dame. You know what I mean?
Right. So. Yeah, I'll take all Mike's inquiries. I'll take all his
Mike
inquiries.
is cybersecurity, so he can't be out there like that.
This is true. I'll take all Mike's inquiries and I'll filter them to him, and maybe he'll get back to you by pigeon or smoke signal or something like that. Look here, y'all, man. Look, brothers, I appreciate y'all, man. Love each and every one of you. I appreciate you taking time out to rock with me today and to rock with our audience, man, and share a little bit of yourself and some of this great knowledge and some of the things. This is what we do on a regular. Like, we probably could have sat here for about 3 or 4 hours, but
we could have.
We could have. And this is what it looks like on a normal. Yeah, this
you know what? I tell you what,
Dave.
How about we continue this in March?
Hey,
on our weekend.
I'm gonna bring the cameras and we'll sit down and we'll just turn them on and we'll just talk and we'll act like they're not there. And I'm gonna have some great content.
Let's do that.
So we'll do that in March when we get together. But we're missing one tonight. Dex, shout out to you, Dex, man. We'll get you on the next one, bro. When we just sitting back, kicking it, having a few beers and whatnot, and enjoying each other's conversation and enjoying each other's fellowship. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Another great episode, 2 Mics Up. As you can see at the bottom, we will be returning for season 5 in April of 2023 on the Mogul TV network.
So proud of you.
Hey, man, thank you, man. Yeah. I appreciate you all. And like I said in the beginning, I appreciate you all for your support. But real talk, the candor and the straightforwardness that we have, just talking to me about what I'm doing here on the show. Your opinions and your views mean the most to me. It helps keep me grounded, and I cherish that. So thank you, and don't stop because somebody said to me the other day, "Oh, that's big time Dame." I said, "Man, don't do that."
No, he just Dame. He
just
Dame.
And the people who know me dislike that. Because I can tell y'all right now, if I came in there and said that, y'all, if I came in introducing myself, these 3 right here, boy, they would eat me up.
So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So especially me. I got you. Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm gonna say that the next time I see you face to face.
You know what?
Hey, look, I'm gonna be like Mike. Look at big time Dame right there.
Hey, you know what? From now on, that's what he gonna be called, big time Dame.
No, like you said in the beginning, it's just Dame.
It's just Dame.
Just Dame. I'm the same
just
guy.
Dame.
So look, y'all.
Congrats on the 4 seasons, bro.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, gentlemen. So that's
big ups to your 2 mics up family, man. Big up to your audience, man. Big up.
I love it and appreciate it. So go ahead and follow 2 Mics Up, ladies and gentlemen, online. IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at 2 Mics Up. You can holler at me if you want to. Your man Dame DNYDC on all social media. if you're watching this, because this is on YouTube, this is not on Mogul TV, make sure you go ahead and you go down there, you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and ring the bell so that you can be notified about all the newest content coming to you from me here at Two Mics Up. And like we always do at this time, ladies and gentlemen, may you stay safe, stay blessed. Mics out.
And remember, all men enjoy.
007.